Feminists equal priestesses of Ishtar. Look at this. The cult of Ishtar in ancient times reflected the goddess nature. Ishtar worship was saturated with carnality, sensuality, and open sexuality. Guys, do me a favor. Does this sound familiar to you? This is of the priestess Ishtar. She was fiery, impetuous, impulsive, greedy, emotional, demanding, stormy, fierce, carnal, given to rage, romantic, vindictive, full of passion, unbridled, insatiable sexual desire, and boundless pride. She was also vengeful, violent, and could wreak havoc and destruction if her desires were denied or becomes offended. Does that sound like anything to y'all? I'm sure it's just a coincidence. No. I'm sure. No. This isn't the feminist movement. No. Let's continue. What would we expect to see if Ishtar starts to influence society? Biblical standards and ethics surrounding sexuality and marriage to begin to erode. We would expect the moral foundations and values that undergirded Western civilization for nearly 2,000 years to begin overturning. Ishtar competed with men. She fought men. She tried to dominate men. She had an anger with men. Coincidence? Again, I'm sure, no. Simba, you're just a misogynist, bigot. You're just full of hate speech. Okay. This is what I gotta say to you. Simply because I'm petty. This is the word of the Lord. It is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop, on the flat oriental roof exposed to the weather, than in the house shared with a nagging, quarrelsome, and fault-finding woman. Are you hearing this here? So here we go. That's all I gotta say to you. And I'm petty. I'm sorry. But Marco, young men, Jeff, whoever is listening, circle that verse. I'm telling you, it is better to be on the edge of the roof of your house than, I'm just paraphrasing, than to live with a feminist. I'm trying to tell you. Get you a good, godly woman. And any women who are listening, become a godly woman. Let's continue. I'm almost done, I promise. What feminism despises, God honors. Because isn't it funny that feminists, they despise motherhood. They despise wifedom. And when I say despise, I mean they think less of you as a woman. Are you hearing this here? Despise literally means to think less. It doesn't mean hate. It means to think less. That's why they come off so arrogant and boastful that, oh, well, I don't need a man. I do this and I do that. But you don't even understand. God honors that. God honors certain things with women. Let me prove it to you. Richard Joyner, The Final Quest, made a startling surprise in heaven. We've been reading The Final Quest in Bible study. Look at, however, it seemed that faithful, praying women and mothers occupied more thrones than any other single group. And what he's talking about the highest position in heaven. The thrones, the seats that are next to Yeshua. More than any other single group, praying women and mothers occupy more thrones. Now let me ask you, why will God do that? It is because honestly, this isn't my Mother's Day message. Listen to me. It is because those women who decide to take care of their family, they can have a career. Ain't nobody stopping them from having a career. Ain't nobody stopping them from doing something wonderful and great. But what they decided was, because they loved their family and they loved their household, that they protected and took care of their children, that their children were in lack or in need of nothing. But while they did that, they were able to pursue and fellowship with God. So they weren't taking care of the children alone. They were fellowshipping. The Lord said, and later on you read, but they lived out of love. Y'all missed that. Those who live out of love are the ones who get those seats. The one that the world doesn't think of. You don't think twice about single mothers, or no, not single mothers, but stay-at-home moms and things like that. You don't really think twice too much about them. They just kind of do their thing. No, I'm telling you, God is saying that because they choose to love, they love their children, they love their husband, and they love me. They pray with me. Did you know that a woman by the name of Mary Kay Baxter, she isn't a preacher. She wasn't any of that. She was a stay-at-home mom who fellowshiped with the Lord, and the Lord gave her a revelation of heaven and hell. Are you hearing this here? She was just a stay-at-home mom. She didn't go to seminary. She didn't say as a little girl, I want to be a preacher. She was a stay-at-home mom. But the Lord said, because you fellowship with me, I can share this with you. Are you hearing this here? Oh, you'll be amazed at what some stay-at-home moms filled with the Holy Spirit can do. They'll put some of you pastors to shame with the revelations and understanding of God they have. That's because they live out of love. They don't do foolish things. Let me continue. Watch this. Like I said, I'm about to trigger some feminists. Look at this. God honors wives and motherhood. Look at this. Proverbs 18:22. Whoever finds a wife finds something good and has obtained favor from Yahweh. So that means not if you get a woman. If you get a wife, you found something good. And that means that Yahweh has granted favor upon you, as a man and as a woman. Are you hearing this here? Luke chapter 1, verse 48. This is Mary now speaking. Look at what Mary says. I am so aware of God's favorable gaze upon my life. Even though I am a handmaid of no prominent social standing, from now on, his favor will be endorsed in every birth, and his blessing will be evident for all generations to realize. And here, Luke 150, the kindness of God and the gift of life from birth to birth is forever celebrated in awe. Do you see that? Do you see how demonic that teaching of that feminist, like it's my body, my choice, and all that other stuff? You see how demonic that actually is? Because even Mary, the mother of God, is saying that every birth should be a reminder of God's promise and God's favor. Every time that life is given, you don't know what God has placed in that child. That child has the power and the ability to change the world. You don't know what God has placed. But because you're so selfish and you're only thinking of being wicked and demonic and being against God's structure and order, because you are just like your goddess Ishtar. You don't see the value in what God sees. You despise and mock mothers and wives when God says they are in the highest positions. To be a mother is an office. To be a wife is an office. Y'all missed that.